This is all the light pollution now in my own backyard. This is only 1 mile from my house, so I think it's time for a new filter. Let's get into this video. Hey everyone, so in this video we're going to be talking about the Optolong L Quad Enhanced filter. This is going to be my thoughts. I'm going to be showing you guys some images. I do have a previous video where I shot 3 of these images that I'm going to be showing today in this video. I'm comparing it with a UV IR cut filter. So if you guys want to check that video out, I'll leave the link in the description. But yeah, really what caught my eye about this filter was I was just on YouTube one day and I seen Optolong post this video of their new filter, the L Quad Enhanced. I was just kind of intrigued by it because the way it sounded is it can be an all-around filter. You can shoot it on narrowband, broadband, and so I decided to give it a try. I was a little skeptical though because the past 2 years I've just been using a UV IR cut filter and actually relying on PixInsight to be my light pollution reduction using dynamic background extraction, which I still use to this day, and it works great. But so I ordered a filter, and obviously we tried it out. So I've shot targets from a Bortle 3 to a 7 and different moon conditions, anywhere from the moon being 30% to a full moon. So I'm going to show you guys these 6 images, and all these images were shot with my Astrotech 115 EDT triplet refractor and my ZWO ASI 2600 MC Pro camera. So the first image, this was actually first light with the filter. This is M33. Now, I've shot this target, only a few years now. One thing too about this filter, I've tried the Beta Moon and Sky Glow filter, the Optolong L Pro. I've even tried the Altair Astro filters. They had a quad band filter that I used a couple years ago, but a couple years ago I didn't have PixInsight and all the stuff that I have now. Well, obviously and all the knowledge I know now. But yeah, I've used different types of beta filters. They're ultra high contrast, all types of light pollution filters. The ITIS filters. I have not tried no Antalya filters, so I can't speak for them, but all these other filters I used, I always felt like they gave some kind of weird cast of colors on like the nebula or galaxy or the stars. And that's the one thing I liked about this filter is just how natural it still looks. Here, I'll just show you first. We'll show you a stretched image. Well, not a stretch, but this is just a stacked image, so there's no processing done on this one. We'll hide this one for a sec. Oops, sorry, I got rid of that by accident. This one. So this is just a stacked image, no processing has been done. And mind you, this is only 3 hours. This is 3 hours from a Bortle 3 sky with 30% moon. So that's just a stacked image. And right out of the gate you can clearly see a lot of HA in a galaxy. A lot of details. You can start seeing the spiral arms. I mean, this is just for 3 hours. I was pretty impressed with the detail you're getting. So let's look at it processed. Alright, and as we zoom in, clearly see already just for 3 hours, seeing tons of HA. And when I've shot this last year for 5 hours at a Bortle 2 sky, it was hard. I didn't pull this much HA. And we'll zoom around. Right there in the core, it's doing a great job. It's just pulling all especially where the faint detail. All these darker spots. Actually, even too, when you zoom in here on this nebula, this big one up here, can start to see a little bit of detail in it, which is pretty impressive. But we go down here. Wait, where at? Right over here. I'm starting to see a lot of oxygen in the galaxy. You can see that stuff. There's some faint stuff right here. Some stuff right there. And also down here. There's a bunch of stuff going on. Seeing a lot of oxygen here, and then some oxygen down here, and actually some HA too, as we zoom in right there. You can kind of see a little bit of detail, but I'm just impressed, like I said, for just 3 hours. And you guys know you need a lot of time on this target to bring out some details. That's why I think that, you know, this filter, that's what really caught my eye about this. When I seen the first exposure, I knew it was going to be good. But I'm very happy how this turned out. I knew I should have put more time on this target, but I shot this for 3 hours, and then I was waiting for the Rosette nebula to come up. So, but overall, I think the filter did a good job. Alright, so next is the Cone Nebula. Now I chose this target obviously because this has some reflection nebula in it. As we clearly see, it's just doing a great job, especially getting all the faint HA out around the Cone Nebula while also keeping the natural star color. That's what I like. I like my images just to be as natural as possible. I really don't do like the Hubble palette or SHO. I mean, sometimes I do, but I just like the natural look, especially with all the colorful stars. We're going to go ahead and zoom in. And I think this is where this filter really stands out, at least for me. Right in here, processing this usually does turn purple sometimes because you got HA and you got reflection nebula right here. And you can clearly see that starting to get a lot of faint blue gas out in here. I think it's just doing a great job at retaining that reflection nebula. Also, you can see some nice details in here. And if we go over here to the cone, right here, there's some of this yellow dust or gas right here that you're starting to see, which is cool. And I used to shoot this nebula with L Extreme or even the L Ultimate, and you don't see that much stuff. I mean, you see tons of HA obviously, but the one good thing about this filter, as we zoom in here towards the cone, it's looking good. Stars are nice and sharp. But overall, I think this image turned out nice. Now, this was 6 hours. This was 6 hours from my backyard to Bortle 6/7. As you guys seen at the beginning of this video, all those lights, that's in my backyard now. But overall, what was the moon? What did I say? The moon was out. I would have to look on my Astro bin because I think I have the date, but I think it was 50% moon, 60%, something like that. And this is 5-minute exposures for 6 hours with 50%, 60% moon in a Bortle 6, almost 7 sky. So next is we're going to look at the Rosette. Now this is the target I shot right after M33. I should have stayed on M33, but oh well. I guess we'll have to wait for more clear skies, but I don't really plan on it. It's been cloudy for a month now. Alright, so now this was shot at the Bortle 3 sky, 30% moon, and this is 6 hours. And one thing I noticed was just the detail in all these dark structures right there. And as we come down here, especially the core of the Rosette, I like these nice blue stars. Also, you got some of your yellow ones and your little dark orange ones. And also right here, this Showing some nice detail right here on the core. And I think the star color, it does a good job at the star colors. As you see, you get your nice yellow and blue stars. If you like that kind of stuff, some people will just use the L Extreme or L Ultimate for this, that's what I used to do. I would use the UV-IR cut filter, and then, like I said, if I wanted to add HA or oxygen, I would use the L Ultimate and combined it. But this is what I think is good about this filter, is kind of might not have to do that. Now I think this filter is going to do the job of both. So yeah, that's 6 hours on the Rosette. Alright, so next is IC63. It goes to Cassiopeia. Now, as you guys know, this is a very faint target. Usually people like going to dark skies and obviously moonless nights. But this was shot in my backyard, so 6/7, and I believe it was a full moon. And this is 5-minute exposures, but this is only 2.5 hours of integration time, so it's not that much time on this target. You guys need tons of time on this. Just in a 5-minute exposure, I could barely see the part of the ghost nebula right there, right here in the center. You can barely see this part right here in a 5-minute exposure. But overall, for the low integration time, this is just 2.5 hours. And one thing I want to point out is, let's look at this star Navi. If we zoom in, it's doing a good job of controlling this star, because you guys know this star is a pain in the ass. Here, I'll just show you. I shot this last year, actually at a darker site, new moon, with just a UV-IR cut filter. But you can clearly see that star, the halo around it, it's just so bright. And then you can actually see down here, I pointed this out in my other video, this spot right here, that little green spot, that's actually a reflection from my scope from this star. And actually, when I was using this filter, you don't see that, so that's pretty good. Another reason why I like that filter. But you can clearly see for 4 hours, that's the UV-IR cut. Here, we'll zoom in on a ghost so you guys can see a little comparison. So that's 4 hours UV-IR cut, and this is also shot with the ZW294 MC Pro. So it is a different camera, but it's still a good camera, obviously, to do a comparison with. And this was obviously shot with the 2600 MC Pro. That's just 2.5 hours. And I'm just for 2.5 hours, still getting some pretty good. I think the filter is doing a good job at pulling a little more detail. As you see, a side by side. I would like to see what this image looks like, you know, putting 10 hours on it. I actually do here, so if you guys want to see a comparison with this, so I do have I shot this target with the UV-IR cut filter for the 4 hours as that previous image you've seen, and 6 hours with the L Ultimate, and I combined them together, and this is kind of what you get. You can clearly see there's tons more of HA than this one, but still too, I think with adding the L Ultimate data, I still think it's a little too much, especially up here. It's not pulling the same amount of detail that this is. I think clearly this one's better, but it's everybody's preference. Someone might like an image like this. Obviously I would like to shoot that for 10 hours and then maybe compare them a little better, but other than that, yeah, I was actually pretty impressed with just the low integration time of just the amount of data I got. And I mean, it looks pretty good. There's not too much noise either. I'll come up here, you can see there. Starting to get some detail. Alright, so next is, this is probably my favorite one, the dark horse, not the dark horse, sorry, the Seahorse nebula. Now I chose this obviously because this is a dark nebula, and that was another thing with this filter why I wanted to try it, because it was saying you can use it on star clusters, galaxies, nebula. It didn't matter. You can use it on anything. So that's what I tried to do, shooting 6 different types of targets. I have not yet to shoot a star cluster. If it ever clears up, that's my next target. Is obviously I would like to shoot the Pleiades with this. But I've seen some great images online with the Pleiades that it does a great job. So for this was actually shot under a full moon in my backyard, which I was blown away by, because this is something you'd shoot at a dark sky when it's a new moon. This gas is extremely faint. You don't see none of this in a 5-minute exposure. But I'm actually pretty impressed on how this turned out. As you see, nice blue stars, yellow stars. Also, when we zoom in here on a Seahorse, did a nice job of pulling that dark nebula. Now this might be able to be processed a little bit better. I'm new to processing this. So this is actually the first dark nebula I ever shot. But I'm going to be shooting a lot more. I would like to try this on the Shark Nebula. There's obviously some nebula down here. I don't know what part of that. I don't know what that is. Yeah, but overall this is the one I was impressed with the most. Alright, so next is M42, the Orion Nebula. And as we'll zoom in here. Now these were 2-minute exposures. Well, I guess let me go back for a second. Sorry. The Seahorse Nebula. Yeah, that was shot during a full moon. These were 5-minute exposures. And this is 7 hours. Just wanted to make sure you guys knew the exposure time. That's the one thing why I was impressed. I thought 5 minutes would be too much, especially living with all those lights. There's just tons of lights. Okay, so next was M42, the Orion Nebula. Now this is 6 hours, and this was shot at a Bortle 4.5 during new moon, so there wasn't a moon up. And these are 2-minute exposures. No, I didn't do shorter exposures for the core or anything like that. I just tried fixing it in PixInsight. So this is 2-minute exposures, 6 hours, and it's still, I could do it a little bit better obviously on the core, but overall it turned out pretty good. You start seeing a little bit of detail, but also down here, seeing a lot of good detail. Over here, you can start seeing some faint, see a lot of the faint dust. It's doing a good job on these stars right here. And we'll go over here to the Running Man Nebula. Yeah, but overall, I think the filter is pretty balanced. I mean, you can clearly see it is pulling some of this faint dust. Now, obviously, Orion it is an easier target, but I haven't got to shoot it this year yet with my new camera, so that's why I went after this target, and I wanted to see how it would do. But even around Orion, you can see this faint light blue dust is what's nice. It was easier to pull out with this filter. Yeah, but overall, I think it turned out great. So, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. But, yeah, I think this filter, it's great if you're under, my sky conditions. Like I said, I'm like 6, close to a 7 now. I'm really not sure how this is going to perform in an 8 or 9. You could probably still use it, maybe doing shorter exposures. But if I ever do get a chance, I will test it, because I do go to star parties in Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh is very light polluted, and I'll also make a video about that to give you guys an update. But yeah, I think this filter overall, if you guys are looking for a good balanced filter, what I mean by balanced is it's pulling the narrowband and broadband together. Overall, I think it's a great filter. Performs very well. So I hope this video helps you guys. You guys have any questions or comments, feel free to drop me a message. If you guys found this video helpful, drop a like, and maybe consider subscribing. Till next time, clear skies.